Buddy?
I'm fantastic, bud. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Keith, meet David. David Keith.
Hey, Keith, how you doing?
Hi, David. I'm great, buddy. Nice to meet you.
Good meeting you.
Dave was a member of our first cohort of the leadership experience and took the public thought leadership track. And so he's hopping in now to the podcasting one with you guys, and he's actually going to be jumping back into the core curriculum as well.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, very exciting. Just waiting for everybody else to hop in here. Just making sure that we have...
The Eventbrite invitation doesn't make it real easy to get on to the link.
Yeah, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I just sent out to everybody. I sent out an email with the actual Zoom link. So,
okay.
So what happened? So after you registered, you got the Zoom link, right?
I still couldn't find it. I clicked on all. I registered and then I went into the email, but we can talk about it offline if you want.
Okay. All right, let's just give everybody a couple of minutes here and then we'll jump in.
George, how long do you anticipate the call going today?
We'll be done at 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
I may have to jump off at 3:30, 3:35.
No worries.
Okay.
You know, when everybody doesn't show up immediately, you're like, uh-oh, did I mess something up with the links? I did not, but who knows?
I'll send Beatrice a text, see if she's around.
Yeah. She
Beatrice, I know she's
definitely...
fine.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. Whoops.
Okay.
All right, I just posted on Facebook. Oh, there's Cordone. Yo.
What do you want?
Mark, have you met Dave before? I'm sure you guys met during TEDx, but
Check.
check. You're
Yeah,
good.
we met during TEDx. That was,
Yeah,
online.
Dave, good to see you again, man.
Yep.
Good afternoon, Mark.
Keith Kemp, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, my friend.
Absolutely.
I will give everybody another 3 minutes and then we'll get it.
I just saw him about an hour ago, Dave. So we're just.
You guys are just
Hey,
sticking around together. That's what it is. Well, you got right for the Joy Revolution, right? You're on the Joy Revolution. How you liking it?
It's joyful.
Okay, well, that's great. And it's all been accomplished.
Yeah, no, it's going great, man.
Yeah, this is all exciting. So you're also signing up for the podcast portion besides the leadership?
Possibly. We'll see how things go here today.
Testing me out, mofo.
I mean, I'll share with you just that it really opened my mind. You know, like sometimes you just need people to say things the right way to have you hear it differently. You know, and that's what it was. It was a huge shift for me, and that's why I'm signing back on to figure out a different piece, and the podcast I'm really interested in doing.
Awesome. Are you going to do a podcast?
For years, so this is one of those things that I'm like, dude, do it. And you know, it's one of those things you're scared about doing, and then you're like, all right, so if somebody could hold my hand, or at least just tell me, like here, like right now with my background, this is a picture that I took. So do I do a podcast with the background like this, or do I show everybody my, you know, my background, you know, the real background? Well, right now I'm sitting on the floor, so I wouldn't do that. But you know, and the great thing is between my photography and some logos is, okay, do I want to use those? And just do it. You know, I keep looking at it because I guess the 3D effect, I'm like, well, it looks stupid, but I'm like, does anybody really care about that? And that's where I would ask the expert. One of the many reasons why I want to get the knowledge that they have.
Yeah, man.
Awesome.
We're actually going to go through some of that today, and but I appreciate the testimonial. So let me get started because we're going to do a replay on this anyway, and so everybody else can catch on. It's that thing, you know, we talked about this, Keith and Mark, earlier. When you do something, and so many people jump in, they're so excited, but who actually shows up, right? That's the important thing. That's the important thing. The people that are ready to make the change. So I want to thank everybody for joining us both virtually and live right now. So this is the second iteration of the Week Zero workshop, Ground Zero to Leadership, introducing the Leadership Experience course, talking about what we're about. We're going to talk a little bit of leadership right here today in order to get to the crux of why we showed up today. Because the first step of this in leadership is just showing up, right? Just showing up. And so I want to thank you. I want to thank you all for just showing up and taking the first step right now. Little background on what we're going to be talking about today. So we have the Leadership Experience, which is a coaching masterclass. It is unconventional, intentional, thoughtful leadership. Core curriculum is taught by me, George Andriopoulos. For those that don't know me, I am the CEO and founder of Launchpad 516, which is a management consulting firm. Also the managing partner of Media Convergence, which is a marketing agency. I have a few other entities. But I am also a coach on the Joy Revolution, which is an excellent program. I am the head coach of the Leadership Experience, and I am the host of the Launchcast, the best goddamn podcast on the planet. And so I'm coming into today with a wealth of experience. That's all I can say. I'm not coming into this with knowledge to teach you. I'm here to learn along with everybody during this course. It is the most important thing to me in hosting a course like this. Actually, we have today here Mark Cordone, who is going to be speaking a little bit about the podcast experience because he's actually the co-developer of that track as well. And we're going to be co-teaching that. Mark is the one that got me into coaching, you know, moving from my executive coaching within private consults, and now taking it to the streets as the rogue coach, as he coined me. I don't follow the rules. Guys, this thing is all about sitting down together, having thoughtful conversations. I think I have some really cool points to make. I think I have some insightful points that really get to the core of what leadership is about. I hope they can be helpful to you. What is this course and what is it not about? Okay. This is a journey towards discovering your leadership. Okay. What is it not? This is not a guarantee of success. This is not a get rich quick course. This is not the course where I promise you rainbows and butterflies and millions of dollars, because nobody can do that. I promise you that you will be 6 intense weeks closer to discovering your mission, what your leadership is about. I promise you that without a doubt. I also promise you some thoughtful conversations. I promise you to give you a thorough breakdown of what I believe leadership is about. And of course, if you're taking any of the add-on tracks, I promise to help you tie that mission statement, that leadership that we discovered during the core curriculum. I promise to help you tie that to your platform. Okay. If you're taking the entrepreneur track, I promise to help you tie this to your business. If you're taking the career leader track, I promise to help you tie this to your profession and help you become a better leader within your career. Public thought leader. I'm talking to speakers. I'm talking to writers. I'm talking to social activists, social influencers, nonprofit executives, anybody that gives a damn about anything and is willing to speak publicly about it. I promise to help use this, to help you use this leadership, this newfound mission statement to catapult your cause through your platform. And of course, our newest track, the podcast experience, I promise to not only help you bring your leadership into the theme of your podcast and help you disseminate it that way, but we're also going to teach you how to do the damn thing, how to build it, how to run it effectively, how to run it successfully, and how to potentially turn it into a revenue stream for yourself. Because that's what this model is missing when people talk about doing things for benevolent reasons, doing things for the right reasons. We're here to do things for the right reasons, but make no mistake, it's not sustainable unless we can effectively transition to doing the thing we love, the thing we are passionate about in our careers. It's no secret. We still need to make a living, right? I still need to pay for this TV here. I need to pay this mortgage. I need to pay for the electricity bill that makes this whole internet thing happen, right? And I can't do that unless there's revenue behind it. But the right reasons behind turning this into a business is how we help people, how we lead others. Okay. So that's the initial spiel. I want to get into real quick, just around the room for those that are here. Name, just a brief one-liner from you about what you're about and why you are here today. So we'll start with Dave.
Hey, Dave Shemetsky. I'm an agent of change. I do a lot of charity work, so I'm always paying it forward. And I've done some mentoring over the years, and I'm looking to be a speaker, as well as paying it forward with my podcast, which I was explained earlier. I've had this idea for the past couple of years and just never wanted to take the leap, and now I'm taking the leap.
Amazing. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it. Keith?
Yeah, my name's Keith Kemp. I'm a coach and a member of the Joy Revolution with George Andropoulos and Mark Cordone. So I am a supporter of what these guys do, and I'm here to learn.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Mark?
Mark Cordone. I engage in positive disruption, co-founder of the Joy Revolution positive psychology coach and host of the probably the at the end of this, the #1 podcast, the best goddamn podcast in the Asian American genre.
Is that a challenge?
You're damn right, man.
I'll make this. I'll make the Launchcast the best one in the Asian American genre too.
Okay, I'll make it the best in the Greek then.
Oh no! Listen, there's no Greeks in your family. I've married into the Asian culture. I'm also having an Asian child soon.
I think they're going to wrestle, Dave.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it, buddy. The foundation of what we do here, it's very simple. We go through 6 modules in the core curriculum. So what we're going to talk about is the 6 modules of the core curriculum and then get onto the add-on tracks and then talk about any questions we might have. As I mentioned in the pre-intro, I don't know if this was recorded or not, Dave is actually an alum of the leadership experience. He has taken he's taken the public thought leadership add-on track. He is now going to be coming back for the podcast experience track, and he's jumping back into the core curriculum of the leadership experience. Now, real quick, for anybody watching this, contact me. If you have watched this workshop or are here, you are eligible to take the first week of the leadership experience core curriculum for free to try it out. Okay. That's next week is module 1. We're going to be setting the days for that soon. And as a caveat, as an alum of the leadership experience, if you have taken the core curriculum at least once, you are now eligible to retake the core curriculum with future cohorts at no additional charge. It is only add-on tracks that you will be charged for.
George, can I just ask, if anybody wants to ask me how it felt going through it, please reach out. Like, really, it was a game shifter for me.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it. I'll probably get to you towards the end of this to talk about it a little bit, but I appreciate that. And so
Okay.
Let's jump in now. So the fundamentals of what we do here at the Leadership Experience, the fundamentals of this course are based on the simple premise that my definition of a leader is somebody that just stands up and says, I'll do it. It's as simple as that. We don't need any fancy explanations. We're going to get into, during this course, we're going to get into a lot deeper explanation of what that means, right? We're going to talk about what it means to actually stand up, how to help others find inspiration in our ideas, how we find inspiration in our leadership in order to disseminate it to others. But very fundamentally, the slab that this whole thing is built on, the foundation this whole thing is built on, is based on the idea that you say, I'll do it. I will stand up and do it. From there, we go into a 6-week journey. Week 1, module 1, is called Unconventional Journeys. For me, it's a really fun module. Unconventional Leadership, I'm sorry. For me, it's a really fun module because this is where we get to know each other a little bit. Module 1 is about, excuse me. Module 1 is about talking about our journeys to date and sort of setting the baseline, setting the control for where we believe we stand right now in this very moment during week 1 of the course. In terms of our leadership, what are our goals? What do we think we are meant to do with our leadership? Can we even see our leadership? And once we talk about those journeys, we're going to look at the journeys of some unconventional leaders out there, both good and bad, by the way, both good and bad, in order to understand the psyche of a leader and how those unconventional journeys can help build us. We talk about the idea of the chicken or the egg conversation within leadership. Are leaders born or are leaders made? Okay, we get into a healthy discussion about that. And again, week 1 is really about getting comfortable with our own journeys within this cohort in order to then take a deeper dive and build and grow. we jump into week 2. Week 2 is called the mission statement. Now, this is one of the most pivotal weeks for 2 reasons. This is named the mission statement because we now discuss how to find purpose within our leadership, how to activate it, and how to execute on that. Now, you can't do that. You can't find the hidden treasure unless you have the treasure map, right? And so week 2 is the beginning of our 5-week project during this cohort. Everybody can see this, where we write our own mission statements called the things we think and do not say, the future of ... Now, ... is up to you to fill in. Those that recognize this, yes, I ripped this off from Jerry Maguire. Yes, it's one of my favorite movies. Yes, it left such an impression on me that I thought ripping it off and putting it in this cohort would be a great idea. Yes, I wrote one of these. It's this one in my hand. Yes, I had a night where I was inspired at 1 a.m. to sit down at my computer and start to write my manuscript, start to write my mission statement, my manifesto about all of the things that I find wrong within my business. And I paralleled my personal journey to that. And I ended up realizing what my mission would be through my leadership. Simple as that. Now, what happened to Jerry Maguire when he did that? He got fired. He was gone. Nobody believed in him except one person.
The fish did.
The fish believed in him.
He had a Phoenix moment.
Going with me. He's coming with me.
He's going with me.
The fish and Dorothy Boyd believed in him. No, nobody believed in him. He was fired, left to start his own movement, left to start his own business, to start his own movement, and to find purpose in that mission statement, and really to go through the crusade, to go through the testing period, the initiation to become a true leader. Silly, right? It's a fun movie. It's a Tom Cruise movie, sports movie, really funny. Silly to think that there's such depth in there, but that's how I interpreted it. And so this mission statement becomes our 5-week-long project. We begin writing it in week 2, and we basically tell our stories while we are going through this leadership journey throughout the class. What we learn during week 2 is not only how to begin writing this mission statement, but we learn how to goal set within our missions, how to be effective leaders through goal setting, through execution, and through understanding that this mission statement is a fluid thing. This changes day to day, hour to hour, year to year, decade to decade. But in reality, the underlying theme of that mission most likely will never change. The nuances within it, yes. We begin writing that. Week 3, leadership theory. This is where we discuss the 5 models of leadership that I believe are paramount to discovering how to lead within our communities, within our professions, within our families. We discuss these 5 leadership models. We talk about where we think we lie on the spectrum. We complete an assessment to help us find where we lie on that spectrum. And most importantly, we discover how to use little bits and pieces of the leadership models that we don't necessarily follow in order to become more well-rounded leaders, more effective leaders. We move on. Week 4 is inspiration theory, probably one of my favorite weeks. Inspiration theory, you know what? They're all my favorite weeks. God damn it. Inspiration theory. Now, this one gets deep. So Dave has taken this one. I'm sure he can agree with me. Inspiration theory gets deep. We talk about Plato. We talk about some really deep shit, guys. We jump in. We talk about the idea of how inspiration is formed and how it transfers at every level of dissemination. It's a super deep class to understand how we can either have ownership of an idea and grow it through inspiration, or we can take an idea that's already been created and rebirth it in order to inspire somebody that wasn't necessarily inspired by the original idea. That's the first half of the class. The second half talks about how we find inspiration in our own lives in order to inspire our audiences. Okay. We think back and we have some thoughtful conversations about those moments in our lives, those spark moments, those moments that were so pivotal that when you look back, those are the Mark. What are those things in video game? Checkpoint. Those are the checkpoints in the video games. That checkpoint in Super Mario Brothers, where you don't have, if you die, you don't have to start at the beginning of the level again. These are the checkpoints where you can reset back to those points and know this was a pivotal point in my life, good or bad. It led me down a specific path. And it was a moment that I will never forget because it had a huge impact on my life. We look at those moments, and whether we were inspired ourselves or we inspired others, we look at those moments and we try to dive deeply into how that inspiration came about, whether it was for others or for us. And we try to take those moments in order to effectively duplicate the feeling of inspiration that led us to the knowing that these points were so important in our lives. We try to duplicate that inspiration within the content that we're creating. If you're in your career and you're taking the career leader track, this is how you manage others, how to inspire your people. If you are a speaker and you were getting on that TEDx stage, this is how you inspire your audience. If you are a writer, this is how you inspire your readers. If you are a podcaster, it is not about buying a goddamn microphone and signing up for a subscription and now you're a podcaster. There's got to be a through line to what you do, and there's got to be a way to engage and inspire that audience, no matter what genre you're in. And that's what we get to the heart of in week 4. Now, week 5, the balance phenomenon. This is where it all comes together. This is where the entire course builds up to where these separate moments of your life, right? We have now discovered your mission statement. We have discovered how it applies to your career, to your, we got somebody coming in. We are discovering how it applies to your career. We are discovering how it applies to your platform, to your podcast, to your business, okay? To your family, to your community. The balance phenomenon, very simply explained, I have used this same analogy ad nauseum. This is the moment that Luke Skywalker learns the Force. This is the moment that Neo understands the Matrix. This is the moment where every place in your life where you lead, your family, your community, your career, your activism, this is the point where they all meet, and those faces, those personas, those different aspects of you that you have to stretch yourself so thin in order to be 5, 6, 7 different people, this is where they all come together as one person. This is where you start to lead as that same person, your true, authentic self, within every aspect of your leadership. And caveat, makes you better. That's the secret. Makes you better at all of them when you can balance them. So that's the balance phenomenon week. Week 6, the final week, that is the last stand. Week 6 is where we come with our finished mission statements. We come and we have a discussion of how to move forward. What do these mission statements look like moving forward in our lives? What does the execution of these mission statements look like? We set goals, absolute goals, in how we will leave week 6, the final class, and how we will apply these, how we will execute, how will we will truly become the leaders that we set out to be in this course. It's a healthy discussion. It's a Q&A session. And it's really a look into the growth that has happened in those 6 weeks. We have our little our non-denominational come to Jesus moment, right, Dave?
Yep.
We have everybody has their come to Jesus moment in this, where we talk about where they were, where they are, and what that wall is that they need to break through, to overcome. You jump over it, you break through it. I don't care what you do. But that's what week 6 is about, the last stand, okay? That's core curriculum, guys. 6 intense weeks, 1 90-minute live course per week for 6 weeks. Additionally, there are 2 one-on-one coaching calls included in that. Those are check-ins, those are Q&As, whatever we want to do. One of them is usually surrounding working out the mission statement and the writing aspect of it, where we move from a word dump to an edited piece. Now, add-on tracks. This course was built for core curriculum plus 1 add-on. It is a little too intense, although we do offer a VIP package where it is a better buy to buy 2 add-ons along with the core curriculum. What we would do in that case is space out the add-ons. I feel more comfortable with you taking the core curriculum plus 1 add-on at a time. So the add-ons, we're going to blow through these and then talk about the newest track a little more in depth. Okay. First, the Entrepreneurship Leader add-on. This is for the business owners out there, existing or aspiring. Very simply, this is how we take our leadership and apply it to our businesses, whether we are launching a business, whether you are a coach, whether you are a conventional business owner that is launching a business that is built around your leadership, or how to apply your leadership within your business. This is the course for you. 3 additional modules. They average 60 to 90 minutes per module within the 6 weeks. So generally, every other week of the leadership experience is a double week. Career Leader track. This is for those that you're not looking to be a public speaker. You're not looking to be a business owner. Not looking to be a podcaster. You're in your career. You're a professional. You're looking to grow as a leader within your career. So I'm talking about people looking to move to management, people looking to move to executive roles, C-level roles, people looking to just get better and become stronger leaders within their professions. This is the course for you. Again, 3 additional modules within that 6 weeks. Every other week, 60 to 90-minute average per module. There is a project involved with those as well. Those are customized based on the cohort member. Okay. Now, our 2 most robust add-on tracks. So the first one is the Public Thought Leader track. This was probably my favorite track of the first cohort, the April cohort that we did. This is for public speakers. This is for writers. This is for social influencers, social activists, nonprofit activists. Anybody who is out there in public, political figures, public office, anybody out there in public who is speaking their leadership in public, who is disseminating it to a public audience, this is the track for you. This is where we take an in-depth look and do pieces on public speaking, on writing. Now, depending on the needs of the cohort, this particular class will be customized for that group. We happen to have a cohort full of speakers in the April 2020 cohort, and so it was completely customized for speakers specifically. And so this is turning your mission statement into your talk. This is getting on that stage and everything that it involves. This is the art of speaking. This is the art of applying to events. Application theory. This is the execution and the aftershock of getting on that stage. Okay. Now take that, and I'll give you the equivalent for writing, the equivalent for the nonprofit world. We customize this track specifically to who is in it during that cohort. Okay. Again, this is about taking that mission statement and executing it on your platform. So you're going to be getting within those, again, 3 additional modules for this track every other week. These are about 90 minutes for sure. You're going to be getting the tools to be able to execute your mission statement through that public platform. Now, the newest track, and I'm so excited about this one. I look at this as I continue. As I have a cohort, I look at the needs out there. As I continue to learn, not only as a coach, but a student myself, I look at the needs of my peers, look at the needs of those who I lead, and I adjust. This course will always be an evolution during every cohort. It's always going to change. I was very inspired by being part of the Joy Revolution as a coach during this cohort and future cohorts, of course, where I am actually taking the role on of the speaking and writing coach on the Joy Rev, while Mark coaches the core curriculum, which is, by the way, incredible, guys. You got to check it out. And we saw a need for providing a podcasting platform. Now, it's no secret that Mark Cordone and I are both podcasters. I host the Launchcast. Mark hosts the Golden Mike podcast. And we effectively transmit our leadership. We transmit our mission statements, our joy revolutions through these podcasts. If you look at the Launchcast, my podcast, there is a very specific through line, and that is leadership. We tell the unconventional journeys of leaders out there in order to help the audience, who, by the way, are aspiring leaders, in order to help them understand that not every leader had it easy out there, that they had the same struggles that you did, audience. And so if that audience hears this story and goes, wow, you know, I went through something exactly like that. And look at this guy now. Look at this lady. Look at where they are now. Maybe I can do that. Mission accomplished. That's what it was about. And so Mark and I sat down and chatted about this, and we thought that it would be super interesting if we'd be able to create a course around how to build a podcast while incorporating your mission statement into it, while incorporating your joy revolution, while incorporating the thing that you are passionate about. But if you know Mark Cordone and I, we don't do things the average way. Okay. And so the one rule when we designed this, before we decided to launch the beta during the June 2020 cohort, was that this was not going to be the idiot's guide to podcasting. This is not going to be the how-to podcast. Right, Mark?
No.
Right. So
I'm not just backing you up.
And so we decided to develop a super robust course. I'm gonna let Mark tell everybody about it in a second, but I want to say that this is so robust that this is double the time of the other add-on tracks. And so the other add-on tracks are all 3 modules along with your 6 core curriculum modules. This track is 6 modules on top of the 6 core curriculum modules. So you are at it twice a week with us. Well, once a week with me, and then the second time with both of us, 90 minutes a clip. And you are not only getting this incredible 6-week course, but you are getting a ton of resources on the back end. So when you're logged in to your portal, your student portal, there are a ton of resources that we're providing, a video library of how-tos for the regular stuff. But I'll let Mark take this.
Okay, great. Well, number one is, George, you know that you're so much better at the clear and specifics, and I'm sort of like the eagle eye esoteric dude that kind of vanishes every now and then and stuff. So the reason I am here is because of the power of this right here. This can absolutely be a weapon of choice, and how you use that is your responsibility. It's your leadership. It's your joy revolution. And so what more intimate of a way than to record your most passionate thoughts that go into the ears of almost any person who wants to have access in it in the multiverse? And like, how much do you have to be on point in order to get that done? And a lot of people will say, well, you have to do 2,000, 10,000 hours if you want to get into mastery in this level. And yes, we agree, but we also agree that you can accelerate it very fast, almost to a quantum level, if you are doing some very deliberate actions, taking some not calculated risks, taking some risks that may feel uncomfortable, but you know you're in a safe place where you're not going to get hurt. It's like play fighting, right? Finding your voice. How am I going to do that? How am I going to get to these goals that I want for my business, my leadership? And how am I going to move an audience to take a behavior based on my one call to action at this one moment, and they may be taking behaviors forever after that. That's the power of a freaking podcast. And so the largest two things that George and I talked about were that at the end of this program, what we know that we can guarantee is that you're going to feel really happy with the podcast that you create. And number two is that you're going to be attracting the audience that you thought you would be attracting. You would have that potential if you just did some of the things that we talked about. We do not have a lockstep way where it's the conventional go to Udemy and do a podcast class for $99. You can do that and you'll get $99 worth. This is something in which it's truly like you come in and we build out based on what it is that your desire is, what your fun movement is, what your Phoenix moment is. The Phoenix moment with David, I already see it, man. You know, the King's moments with Fred, you know, but like, it's conversations with Kings, right? With Fred. And then also the business aspects of it, the technical aspects of it, what kind of backgrounds do I use? Should I use social media? How do I deploy all of those things? All of those things will be provided to you. You will have them forever. And you will also have the experience, which is the most important part of going through it with a group of people who will forever be your colleagues in the podcast world.
Yeah, amazing. And so I want to fly real quick through the 6 modules of this so everybody understands what the steps will be. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about what happens outside of this. And so, number 1, let's talk about deliverables. Okay. If you choose during this 6 weeks to apply everything we talk about and to execute at the same time, and by execute, I mean you do the work to design your class, you buy the equipment, you do the whole thing, you find your space, you sign up for your podcast host, all of that stuff. You can absolutely leave here in 6 weeks with a running podcast. Okay. But the guaranteed deliverable is that you will have all of the tools necessary to be able to launch that podcast. Would I build a podcast in 6 weeks? We're going to answer that question because the project, just like we're doing during the core curriculum, you're writing your mission statement. The project here is you are going to be part of the process where Mark and I build a brand new podcast. And you will see in real time the creation of every level of that podcast intimately. Okay. And so those 6 modules, Module 1 is called Show Me the Podcast. We talk about show theme, through line, podcast genre, how to understand your genre and know what it means to your show in the long run. We talk about show format, measuring your resources versus the best way to disseminate your theme. That's your first module. Module 2 is called Who in the Hell Do You Think You Are? Module 2 is what is the purpose of your podcast? We're talking about return on investment. We're talking about marketing your other revenue streams. Keith, how are you going to market the happiness movement? Okay. This is what we're talking about. Dave, you just had a piece of a book that was put out, right?
Yep.
How do we market these other things? Okay. We're doing business plan and goal setting in module 2 as well. So this module 2, we're going to get all the business stuff out of the way because it's a very real reality that when we do these things, like we talked about before, and there's no shame in this, in order to make it sustainable, it has to be a business. Absolutely. Okay. Module 3, the one where they built the Death Star. This is probably the most content-driven, intense day of the course, week of the course. It is content structure. It is technical specs, including equipment, hosting services, other services, and it is production. This is where you will learn from start to finish how to actually produce your show and what equipment you need to do that. Okay. This will be 90 minutes, possibly longer. This one, we're going to talk about this. And this is going to be a ton of resources on the back end. We're going to provide guides for you based on assessments that we're going to do. What equipment you should be buying, what kind of services you should be using, what podcast host is best for you. You're going to be able to structure your show, structure the segments of your show. Okay? A lot of stuff in Module 3. Module 4 is called the Remix to Ignition. This is launch strategy, and this is monetization. And so when we talk about launch strategy, it's okay, you have everything set. What are we going to do here? Let's come up with an episode strategy, a season strategy. How many episodes are we going to record before we go live on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, right? So we're talking about all that. And of course, monetization. The one thing that most people with podcasts overlook is monetization. It's a very real part of podcasting, and it's the difference between this being a hobby and this being a sustainable revenue stream. Module 5 is called Hey Now, I'm your host, and today our guest is ... your podcast voice, guests, and audience. So this is, Mark is actually doing voice 1.0 in week 1. This is going to be voice 2.0. We're talking about the entire guest experience, from booking guests to the pre-work to scheduling to the interview. I'm doing interview 101 here. We're probably, honestly, this will probably be done together, Mark and I, because I will say this is probably one of the areas that both of us excel at very much, and I think it is the key ingredient to both of our shows, honestly. The key ingredient. And of course, audience, getting to know your audience, giving your audience what they need in order to receive your mission statement and what they need in terms of engagement and entertainment. Okay. And then the last one, module 6, invasion of the podcast people. This is the final day. This is marketing. This is how to market your podcast. And I'm talking about all kinds of marketing, advertising, social media marketing, the whole deal. This is repurposing content. And this is the final roundup. Okay. This is how we talk about the execution. You ready to go? Boom. Let's do this. Okay. 6 weeks. There's going to be some one-on-ones included in this, some assessments, some check-ins with you guys. We'll get all those details going on. Now, how do you register? You're going to get an email from me if you've registered for this course. If not, reach out, DM, email at ga@launchpad516.com, whatever you got to do. The website is theleadershipexp.com, and you can go to the courses page. So theleadershipexp.com/courses, all of the courses are listed. Okay. If you were referred by somebody, check their name at referral. If not, just check other. Okay. And then you could check out from there. But remember, if you DM me or contact me, you'll be able to get week 1 for free so you can try this out. Of the core class, not the podcast class. We can't give that one away. And then you can make your decision. That's the info for this class. This starts the week of June 1st. Final days are going to be set within the next 24 hours. So I'm going to open it up now to any questions. First, the first thing I want to do is just open it up to Dave real quick as an alum. Dave, if you can give us like a 1-minute sort of testimonial, tell everybody how you felt about going through the first cohort of this class and what it's done for you.
Yeah, sure. No problem. Thanks, George. Really, it opened my eyes. There's a lot of this stuff I knew, and that's one of the tricks is a lot of people know a lot of information, but how you apply it, and that was really where I was falling short. That's how I came to speak to George, saying, hey, I'm just missing something. Well, there's got to be something I'm missing. And each class we built upon it, and I was like, wow, okay, I knew it. And he helped by giving me the real core deadlines. I felt committed to give him exactly what we were supposed to be committed to. And that helped me get the story I needed to get out. And as it was coming together, he talks about the Jerry Maguire moment. So I had my Jerry Maguire moment starting in the middle of the night. And I just wrote, and eventually I crafted it. I have a 25-page document that kind of was helpful for me to get where I needed to go. And it's part of a story that I'll use on my podcast, which will be both of yours. Because you're settling yourself onto the Greek, and you're doing your Asian. I'm looking for everybody else, brother. Everybody's going to help with my podcast.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, Dave. Yeah, and honestly, it was a pleasure. What I got out of this the last day, I got very emotional during the last stand because honestly, I couldn't believe the growth, the honesty of the entire cohort, the fact that you trusted me with helping you to not only craft your leadership, but you trusted me with your journeys. I couldn't ask for anything more. It was really just such an incredible experience, and getting to watch your mission statement itself grow. Now, just so you guys understand, in the process of this starts with a word dump. We're just getting everything out onto paper, and then we start to formulate how these different weeks apply. So it's a lot like you're going to do a big word dump in week 2 and week 3, and then as you're looking at leadership theory, inspiration theory, the balance phenomenon, these all help you to tie everything together and learn some of these lessons that were meant to be learned throughout this journey. And so looking at Dave gave me a 30-something page document originally. We whittled it down to really 22, and then it went back up to 25 because of some formatting choices that I made. I do the final edit on this document because I think that I have learned enough about our cohort members at that point to be able to help you through this skill set that I have. And it was so interesting looking at Dave's whole life on these sheets of paper. Not whole life, but, the spark moments, and being able to sort of reorder them and look for these important stories that some of them weren't part of the overall journey, but they were meant to be a little mini story. And we made some cool decisions in terms of formatting and how to break up the content into different sections to make sense to the reader. It was incredible, man. So I want to thank you for allowing me to do that. I'm excited for this next cohort. Mark is not only co-teaching on the podcast experience, Mark is actually taking the leadership experience core curriculum during this cohort. So I'm super excited for that.
Wait, how many pages was Dave's? 25?
Yeah.
I can call mine at 26.
Guys, I want to leave it.
We never know where I'm going to go.
The last 5 minutes here, I just want to leave it for any questions we have going forward. I'll answer them for you right now, and make sure to ask anything you want because this is going to be available on the replay for those that didn't catch it. Where's Fred at? I see Fred on here, but I don't see that beautiful face. Crickets.
I'm here. I'm here, George. You can turn video on right now, but I'm here.
All good, my man. Any questions on this, my friend?
No, man. I think you guys did an excellent job in just explaining, the entire experience and just the different deliverables. So I'm pretty clear on it.
Okay. Thank you, buddy. Keith, anything, bud?
No, thank you guys. I've got to run, but again, I think you guys explained it all fine, and always here to support.
Thank you, bud. Appreciate it. Mark, any last notes?
Yeah, I think number one is I think from a podcasting tip, I dare anyone to look at anything that's even remotely close to this and is at the price point that we have it at. I dare you. There's nothing. Number two is I'm humbled to be taking leadership this way. I started out before I did social justice, doing a lot of time reading up on leadership, and I think a lot of programs are like lockstep, do it this way, the 10 essentials of this, the 10 quintessential laws of this, and this seems very nebulous going in. It's almost like you define it, and I really like that kind of power that it gives the individual for leadership. So I'm looking forward to it.
I appreciate it, man. I'm looking forward to co-teaching the track with you, because developing it was a blast, honestly. I love being activated creatively, and man, what a robust class this is going to be. And by the way, for the core class too, I forgot to mention this. Dave's got this coming to him. It should be in his mailbox by Monday or Tuesday, I'm guessing. It got mailed out yesterday, but he's getting a printed version of his mission statement sent to him. And there was a nifty certificate he was able to print out from the site too. But yeah, thank you guys for joining. Those that join live, those that are joining virtually, I appreciate it very much. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Any questions, again, ga@launchpad516.com, theleadershipexp.com. Reach out for anything. We're here. Classes start next week. Enroll. Thanks, guys.
Take it easy.